Welcome back to another episode of Girl Let's Talk podcast. We've got some great things going on this month. We want to kick off this month actually with the first show being all about breast cancer awareness. But before we jump into that, what we want to do is tell you that we don't have our other sister here, Marci. Marci is gone. Marci will be out for a while. You know, she's in her doctoral program. You know, she's very smart. She's very smart.
She's so smart.
She's so smart. But now she's out of the country. She's pursuing her education and pursuing a higher degree. And we want to just say thank you and what's up to Marci. We love you. We're going to miss you, but congratulations.
Congratulations.
Really. These ladies are on our panel. We just want to say we've got a great guest here. We have Keisha Michelle, the world famous Keisha Michelle. She's hairstylist, entrepreneur extraordinaire.
Yes.
She's everything.
Yes,
I'd like her to introduce herself before we even get started.
What's up, everybody? It's your girl, Keisha Michelle. I'm so excited to be here. I love watching everybody evolve. Bam. Right? And talking about transformation, I'm excited to just hear the testimonies and see you guys just create something so unique and beautiful. So thank you for having me, Marci. I love you. Hey,
We
y'all.
love you.
Hey, y'all.
Hey,
Hey, girl, hey.
We love it.
I want to introduce our special guest on today. Since we're talking about breast cancer awareness, we wanted to kick it off with someone who's actually a breast cancer survivor. We want to introduce to you Sharika, and we want her to give a little bit about her testimony. But first, let's start off with some factual information about breast cancer. From what we know, at least this year, there will be at least 280,000 women that are diagnosed with breast cancer. We know that 1 in 8 women. So let's just, that makes a lot of, it brings it home. You put 8 of us together, at least one of us is going to be diagnosed with breast cancer, right? So we just wanted to bring Sharika on today because we know she's a breast cancer survivor. She's done it. She's wore it. She's been over it. She's seen it. She's got a testimony. So we wanted to introduce her to you and have you know a little bit about her story in hopes that maybe if you are a survivor or you know someone that's a survivor, or you know someone that's going through it, that they have an opportunity to hear from someone that has a story. Sharika, introduce yourself, please, and tell us a little bit about who you are.
Thank you guys for having me.
Hi,
Sharika. Hey. A little bit about my story. I was 28 when I was diagnosed. I found out myself. Just a self-check after a shower. It had been a long day, and I was like, oh, wait a minute.
But since you're 28, Sharika, how long had you been actually testing yourself? Because I don't know that I even do it right.
Yeah. Never. I'm guilty, never.
Really?
Never.
What made you do it at 28 that day?
And it wasn't even like I'm going to just check that day. It was just like a feeling on myself kind of thing. I tell people check because I want to say feeling on myself. That's what it is. Just a feeling on myself type thing. And I was like, oh, wait a minute. That has never been there before. So to know your body, I tell everybody that you need to know your body because had I not known my body, I would have been like, oh, okay. And everyone was like, oh, it's benign. It's just tissue. Don't worry about it. And I was like, I'm going to give it 3 days. And I gave it 3 days, but it didn't sit right with me. So I had a doctor's appointment already. I moved it up. And I went in by myself on my lunch break. And it happened really quick. Everything happened on the first go around. So I went in. The doctor said she felt it. But she was like, we're going to give it 3 months because you're young.
Oh, my gosh.
And she looked at me. She's like, you don't like that answer? I was like, mm-mm.
Right.
Yeah. I was like, I don't like that answer. So she was like, you can go, if you got time, you can go next door. And I was like, I'll make time. So I went next door, and the doctor, they checked a couple of times, and they kept coming in saying, does breast cancer run in your family? And by the third time, I was like, okay, this is what it is. It's breast cancer. I'm not finna play. And the lady came in, she was like, oh, it's breast cancer. It's bad, and you need to find an oncologist right now. And it was COVID had just hit, so it was a lot going on. So I remember I texted my mom and my kid's dad. I was like, I have breast cancer. I don't want to talk. I'm turning my phone off. I'm going back to work. And I'll talk to y'all when I get off. And I cried on my way to work. And I was like, okay, you're going to figure it out because you got a 3-year-old, because my kid was 3 at the time. I was like, you're going to figure it out. It's going to be what it's going to be. But you're going to have to figure it out. And I cried. I wiped my tears and I went back to work like nothing had never happened. And I finished that day. And then I found my oncologist, I think probably that day, within that week. And I just moved with the process. And it was about 2 years. And here I am.
Wow.
So take us back to that moment when you actually found it. You're 28 years old. You're just in the shower.
Yes.
You decide that you're going to do a breast self-exam.
I didn't even decide I was going to do a breast exam. I had got out the shower and I was just trying to decompose from the day.
Okay.
And I just felt it. And I was like, that has never
How
been here.
large was it?
It was about the size of a quarter.
Okay.
You gonna have me?
I know, all the time.
Yeah. And that's all I really did. So it wasn't, I know they give like this whole pamphlet, but that's not, I didn't do none of that. I was just like,
Yeah, because at the doctor they be like, you gotta go do it in a circle.
Yeah.
Raise your arm.
I grew up, my great grandmother, like I know everybody don't know that great grandmother, but I grew up, and when we would go visit her in the summer, in her shower, there was a like a door hanger, and it had all the ways to fill your breast. So I actually still have that. Even now that I'm talking about it, I remember seeing it. So it's very natural, like you said. It is filling yourself. You are filling yourself.
Now, why did she have that? Did they run in your family?
You know how it is in the South. You don't talk about things.
You don't talk about
So, I can't answer that question, but I do know. I always thought, this is so detailed. So whenever I took a shower, I would do what the little pamphlet said. So I naturally knew, because it was really ABC type instructions. So that's where I actually learned how to do it. And then going forward, I grew up in church. The pastor growing up, his wife, she died of cancer, but she used to take me to all these women's conferences. I remember touching the breast. They had like breasts that you touch, and they show you what a natural feels like. They show you what it feels like. So
Where was this that you would touch the breast?
At a conference. They had conferences.
Like health fairs.
Conferences, health fairs. And I believe she knew that she had cancer. She just didn't tell anybody, because she died at like 50. That's so young. And I just think that she didn't want to tell anyone. Like you said, you called and then you said, don't talk to me. I think she was on a like, don't talk to me. But I was kind of her armor bearer. There was a bunch of them, but I was one of them. And so she just took me to random things. And a lot of it was health things. And she told me about bleach and all these different things. So she taught me a lot of what causes cancer. So I did grow up with the conversation, and I don't know my great grandmother, but it definitely is a thing where most women don't know what it feels like. But I still, even now that I think about it, you could go to these exhibits and you touch different boobs and they feel different.
I don't think I've ever seen that. I don't think I've ever known that, but that's phenomenal if you can.
If you could.
That is phenomenal.
Because as African American women, we know that we have what are called more fibrocystic.
Yes, we do.
So we do. So if we would know what different feels like, that would help us exponentially, right?
And to this day, I always feel my boobs. Like, I know that sounds crazy, but not really.
They're yours.
No, they're yours.
But you like keeping things out of the time. You ain't had no choice but to fill them up.
I actually remember, it's in the back of my mind. Listen, I remember how because there is natural little knots and things that are normal, and then they're not. So I actually, the touching and feeling is so important, because I remember.
It is very important.
It's a random fact.
Start filling myself up on a regular.
Yeah. It's
Okay.
amazing, because my husband's wife died of breast cancer. She was 33.
Wow.
And so Ed is very adamant when it comes to, checking yourself, health care, making sure that you get your screenings, and what you said is being an advocate for yourself.
Yes.
Because they were going to say, well, you come back in 3 months or whatever. But sometimes we have to speak up for ourselves, when it comes to our own health care, because no one knows our body better than we do.
Yes, I tell people that all the time. Don't nobody know your body better than you.
Right.
So if you feel it, it's there.
Right.
Go with it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, and my husband has he's actually said, listen, if you feel something, because he was just so, I guess he, having had a wife to die of it, because by the time his wife, they felt her knot, and it was significant. But within a week's time, it had gotten so big that she could not put on a bra.
Wow.
So when they opened her up,
Yikes.
initially they were like, it's
Sharika,
Yeah.
did you have any other signs or symptoms? Because we know that some of the signs that they say are like nipple discharge, pain, tenderness underneath the arm, and like what they call the axial region, so right where you put your deodorant on. they say sometimes there's a change in texture of the breast. Sometimes it looks like an orange peel, what they call stippling.
Stippling, yeah.
Were there any signs that you had?
I actually didn't have any signs outside the lump that I felt. But when I went to the doctor and after we got past we gonna check right now, I had 3 more lumps in my breast and it had already moved to my lymph nodes. So it was already progressing.
Yeah.
It was, and so they said that it was stage 3 and it was aggressive. Wow. So if I would have waited the 3 months like she said,
Yeah, we're there. Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
You better win,
I did have a
sis.
quick question. You said that you text your family.
yes.
And like, I don't know, that would have sent me in a whole rage.
Exactly.
Like, how did your family receive that? And then you send this text, I got breast cancer, and then you go silent. Like, that wouldn't have worked for me at all.
You're very big on.
I'm very big on, don't text me.
I
Yeah.
don't think it worked well for my mom.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
At that time, I needed to do what would work well for me.
that's right. I get it.
So, and that worked well for me. Like, I needed to let her know, because she didn't know I was going to the doctor. I needed to let her know what happened. But I also needed time to get myself
Process.
together. I had to process what was happening. And then, like I said, I had a kid. So, you know, when you're a mom, that's the first thing you go to, no matter what's wrong with you. So I was like, oh, Lord, what if something happened? Oh, Lord, what's going to happen with him?
I love that you said that. Right when you were telling your story, I don't know if you caught what you said, but you said, I got a son, so this gon' have to.
I got to fight.
And
That was a decision. My kid can't not have his mom. This is not right.
And that was the route that I took the entire time. So through my journey, I worked my 40 hours. I went to work every day. And my kid lived a normal life. I was like, he gonna live a normal life. So even if on my bad days, I'd be like, give mama 5 minutes and I'm gonna pull it together. And here I come. I went to soccer games. His soccer coach was like, you got cancer? I was like, yes. He was like, I didn't even know you show up every I'm gonna show up. And that, I think that's what helped me beat it, because
That's
I
what
kept
I was gonna say.
going.
It is. Is that what helped you beat?
Because I just kept going no matter, and I had horrible days, so it's not good. I did have horrible days, but I just had to keep going because I had a kid and that was the only thing. So there we go.
I love it. Determination.
And you know what? Our friend Wendy, she was like that.
Yes.
She like, you
Yes,
thought
she
that
was.
like breast cancer was like eating a piece of cake, because she literally says it's all mental.
It is.
And she was like, no, you can't be around me crying. You can't be sad. And she was like, you call her, I'm good. But I'm over here.
And I'll be honest with you, I initially thought that was a front. I really did, but I came to realize when I actually saw Wendy, when I put my eyes on her, I realized that Wendy was like, "Listen, I am a fighter. I'm going to win. I'm
that's
going
how
to
she
beat this
was.
thing, and you cannot be around me crying. You
She
cannot
was
be around
like
me
that.
sad because I don't need that energy."
And she had a newborn.
Yes,
She had a newborn.
and that's the energy you like. And for a long time, I was like, I don't need nobody to come over here. We okay? It's fine. That made my son very self-sufficient, but we fine over here. Don't be coming over here. Mom be like, I'm gonna come. No, don't come over here. Don't.
That principle, y'all know now.
Yeah.
I know I love Jesus.
Take it to church.
That is a spiritual principle. God
is.
honors principles.
Yeah.
And so when you think about faith is believing in the unseen. So and faith is built by what you hear. So we heard this chair was gonna hold us up, so we sat down. You know what I'm saying? You heard whatever you heard in your spirit, you chose to believe that and you walked on that. When you think about the woman with the issue of blood, the scripture says that she heard reports about Jesus. So what she heard made her. Can you imagine 12 years of just you can't stand up straight. You have no energy. But that gave her hope. Your son, what you heard about what it's going to be, that gave you faith, that gave you hope, and you believe that against everything else. If you keep reading that same passage, then Jesus goes to heal a little girl. They said she's dead.
She did.
Jesus put the people out the room.
Get out.
Who was talking sideways. They laughed at him.
Oh my gosh, I forgot.
So she turned her.
Yeah.
She said, "Hey, this is what it is right now, but it's not what it's gonna be. I'm gonna need y'all to like adjust to what I'm saying it's gonna be. So I gotta do. You said I did what's best for me. You made sure that you didn't allow other voices to determine. Decisions alone create our future. So I just applaud you because you operated in great faith.
Yes.
And just know that when you overcome something like that, everybody's overcome things. When we're overcome, there's a calling attached to that. You know what I'm saying? So you have formulas that you have to go back and say, wait, what was my mindset? What action steps did I take? And it's like, there's more people that need to hear your story.
That's right.
So it's exciting to hear, sis. You motivate me.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm here to do. Man, it's life after cancer, and it's not going to beat you. And I did have a friend who I went through this journey with. We went through the exact same journey the same year, and she did recently pass, and that was just hard for me. But I was like, oh, I want to do something with breast cancer. I want to do something with breast cancer. And I was like, I'm busy. I don't got time. It's so funny that you said God, because I was like, I don't got time. And she passed, and my coworker came to me. He said, so is you going to do what God told you to do now?
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, wow.
And I said, you know what? You're right. I sure am. And I gave up because a company did reach out to me. I won't say the company's name. And then they said they wanted to sponsor me. Then they came back months later and was like, oh, well, we don't want to do it anymore. So I was like, okay, well, I'm busy. I don't got time. But after she passed and my coworker came, I was like, okay, I'm going to have to figure out how to get the word out and spread awareness, because it does affect us. Like 42% of us are more likely to die than any other race. And that's a huge number.
That is huge.
42% of African American women will die from breast cancer.
I didn't read that statistic.
That's bananas.
Yes.
That's huge.
How was your friend's faith?
She made me have faith.
Wow.
So, you know, when you go through something traumatic, it's really going to test your faith. And so it tested my faith a lot, because I was like, why me? I mean, it's, so it tested my faith. And then I met her. Never met her in person, just happened to meet her. We had a lot of mutual friends together. We went to the same college, just never crossed paths. And then we crossed paths during this journey, and she would always say, you got to have faith, or she'll text her scripture, or she'll do something. And I was like, okay. So she slowly gave me my faith. And even through her worst days, she'd be like, it's okay. God got it. It's okay. And I was like, okay, I'm going to see what she told me. And I just slowly transitioned to my faith and believing in God and going to church or reading the Bible or praying to him. So she helped me along my journey so much.
That's so good. Wow. That's such a blessing. Like, I think about, when you think about faith and healing, and you think about life and death, a lot of times people lose faith, because you could easily say, because she didn't make it, you don't believe. And I think that we kind of get a little elementary as adults when we think of, like, that's a temper tantrum.
Yes.
Because you're mad, because rightfully you want the person here. You want them to win. But we never really know the power of sending that scripture. You know, there are times when people are at their lowest, but they had enough strength to encourage somebody else.
Absolutely.
Maybe they just weren't strong enough, and they needed to go home, go ahead and be with God. You never know their fight. My mother adopted me, and she died from dementia. You know what I mean? And there were so many things that I saw that I could either say, I believe in God, or since God didn't do this, I don't believe. But it fueled me. And one of the things I told I was there until her heart stopped beating. So when you talk about faith, you know, and going through something, or I'm watching her die in such a way that's just not, and there's nothing glamorous about it, but you have a decision to make, and there is a calling attached to that. And I do know that I honor you, because you didn't go sideways. You said, you know what, I got to speak more. Like, when I was looking at my mom die, I said, I'm going to love more. I'm going to give more. I just went into, what am I going to do because of what I've seen, you know? And on her worst day, she was loving, she was kind, she was giving. So I just keep, it's like, I just honor you. And it's also like a push, like, be loud. Start
be
a
loud.
movement.
Go.
Start a movement.
Absolutely. We don't always, the things that we go through is not always for us.
It is.
Sometimes it's for us.
Sometimes it's for other people.
Oftentimes it is.
Yeah. And their job in the story could be to ignite you.
Right.
And then they go home. My mom ignited me, and she's with Jesus. You know what I mean? But like, the things that I do now in the stories, like, she was there. She did her part. So your friend to me is the same thing. She ignited you. So so I'm excited to see what you're going to be doing.
Absolutely.
Why I just get emotional? My lash is barely on.
I know. I'm going to have my lash in my head in a minute.
That's just like you could put a lump in my throat.
I know, right?
Yes.
Sharika, what do you want to see happen? What do you hope to gain? I know what you hope to gain, which is using your voice, but what would the next steps be? What would you like to do to advocate for women, particularly African American women?
In my mind, I want it to be big. So I don't know where I'm going to start and how it's going to go, but I want it to be big, and I want it to be not just in October.
Right.
Because breast cancer affects us year round.
Yes.
It's glorified in October.
Right.
But what about September, August, July, all those other months? I want it to be I want us to advertise it more. Even when I went through my journey, you Google a lot. Google my best friend.
You know, Google a kid.
Yeah.
You be like, I got AIDS. My finger hurt. I got my finger tingle.
Yeah, COVID. I got COVID. Not COVID.
It's the new version.
COVID. Everything was COVID, right?
Everything. Yes. Everything.
So I want to be able to just like tell the story everywhere. When I went through my journey, it was I couldn't relate to nobody. I'm in groups on Facebook. Our bodies different, our skin different, and I do appreciate them, sharing their story. And they gave me some really good advice. They showed me how to, work this insurance thing, but they couldn't relate to me as far as my body and how I would react to things.
Because we're different.
We're different. Chemo, radiation destroyed their body, and then my body was like, I was seeing pictures to my friend like, I don't look like that. Wait a minute, let me show you. Let me show you. Taking pictures, like, everything was different. The way our hair grow was different. But no one talks about it. You go through your journey, and then I don't know if you're so glad that it's over that you just be quiet, or you just, I don't know. So I want to be loud with it. Like, let people know who are going to go through this journey that this is what it's going to look like. This is how you're going to feel afterwards. This is how you might feel during. But give them hope that you're not alone.
Yeah,
It would even be awesome if we would have providers that would tell us, yes, you're different. Your racial makeup is different.
Different.
Your
Yes,
medications will affect you differently.
Yes.
Cycles of radiation will affect you differently. How your hair grows will affect you differently.
Because I knew none of that. So everything was blind. Even the people, if you went through it and you were a different race than me, because they share a lot. Actually, they overshare. But I couldn't relate to any of that because it wasn't me.
It
wasn't your
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
So it's as simple as starting a Facebook group, a blog, a Wix blog. You can start a text message list. You can start, just do something and watch everything come together. It's just really about, that's why, because when I was speaking, I saw you documenting your process, going back to, okay, how did I feel when I first found out? What was that like? And then really just dumping everything and then trusting that, somebody needs this, because dumping everything and not sharing it with anybody. So where can I share this? What's the easiest place I can share right now? It could be Facebook, it could be Instagram, whatever your jam is right now. And you just become the girl who, black girl who shares the cancer story. And you just empower people, and then give people a platform where they can share what they're going through, and recipes, and I mean all the things you needed. What did you need that you didn't have?
It.
You know what I mean?
I see what she's saying. I actually see it.
It's a movement.
Who had cancer.
Yeah.
But one.
Who had?
Yeah.
And it was a lot of things that I needed that I just didn't have. Like, I didn't have access to it. Like I said, the information of insurance, of course, they help with that. And I was able to you coding it wrong. Wait a minute. That's why I didn't go. Right. How did you code it? Your insurance, how you code it? Wait a minute. Let me go.
I love that. Yeah.
PT codes.
You said the wrong code. That's why it didn't work. But that information, hands down, they help with. But
That's amazing.
Me, I need to
don't know that.
No, they don't.
Yeah.
I learned a lot. I learned a lot about myself, but I also learned about insurance. I learned a lot on this journey. I tell people all the time, I needed to go through this, because if I didn't go through this, I wouldn't have grown as a woman or as a mother, because I was totally different. How I looked at life, I was very selfish. I seen things one-sided, and I had to go through this.
Wow.
And it changed my
Got
life.
another lump in my throat.
Don't you do it, bud.
Not nowhere else. It was in my
Don't you
throat.
do it, bud. You know, Rachel cries.
I'm a crybaby.
Yeah, I'm a
crybaby. I love
And
it.
I'm not a crybaby, but I do.
She not.
No, you're not.
You're on the thug side.
Yeah.
I told her
Yeah.
when I gave that, she told me she gonna process it. She's not.
No, she not.
She laughs at people that cry.
Yeah.
She's not.
Yeah. Yeah.
You be able to. She's like. She's like, hello. Why are you laughing?
I'm crying. I'm crying over here.
This is right here always. But the cry.
Oh wow. But
So Sharika, I love this. I love the fact that you have actually you have a vision for where you want to go with this.
Yes, I do. I want to spread awareness every month to I'll spread it to everyone. But really, Black women, I want you to get checked. I want you to check yourself. Cancer has no age. I heard that a lot through my journey. You're so young. I went to the doctor past Friday to get a checkup, and the nurse was like, "You're so young," and I rolled my eyes, and she was like, "I'm sorry." I was like, "No, I just hate when y'all say that." No, I'm not, because here I am looking at you, you looking at me, we going through this CAT scan together. No,
Looking at you looking at me.
it has no age. Check. When I went through chemo, I walked in there and I seen so many people that looked like me. So I was like, I don't know what they talking about their age. It was so many young Black women in there getting treatment. So it has no age. Another thing, I have no family history of breast cancer. So they do a genetic test of you. I have no family history of breast cancer or cancer. And prior to getting cancer, I was completely healthy. I'm completely healthy. When I go to the doctor, they be like, "You don't got nothing? No diabetes, no high blood pressure, nothing." So, just check.
So tell us, there are different versions or different forms of breast cancer. We know there's like the HER2 positive, there's like the triple negative, all of those things. Like, do you know anything about those different ones and how aggressive they are?
I do not. I like to tell people that I truly believe that breast cancer, maybe not 100%, but somewhat is involved with birth control. I don't know why, but I got a very bad feeling like when they called and was like, "Oh, it is cancer," because they had to do the biopsy to confirm. She was like, "Hurry up and take that NuvaRing out. Hurry up, hurry up, hurry up." And I was like, "What? Well, wait a minute. What's the panic?" As far as which breast cancer I had HER2 positive, but I just learned that I had that when I went to my oncologist. She was like, "Why are you worried about it?" She was like, "It's cancer, so we treating it the same. Don't worry about that. Don't get caught up in that."
You're right. You're right.
And I was like, "Okay."
That is.
And they be like, people be like, "Oh, what kind of cancer you have?" I'm like, "Oh, I don't know." I know they would look at me crazy, but I wasn't trying to get caught up in that. It was cancer. I needed to treat it. I don't care if it was negative, positive, double positive. It just needed to be treated.
Right.
So it was the size of a quarter. It was located somewhere in your breast. They found it. When they did find it, you had 3 additional lumps and it already metastasized to one of your lymph nodes.
Yes.
Did you have to have any kind of treatment? Did you have to have anything other than chemo and radiation? Did you have to have any lumpectomy? What did they do?
So I had chemo. I was supposed to go through 6 rounds of chemo. Here goes to knowing your body again. After the 5th round, I was like, I ain't doing chemo no more.
Really?
I ain't doing chemo no more. And my parents, both of them, my mom, she was mad. So she texted my dad, hoping that he could get to it. I was like, I'm not going back. Chemo was horrible. And it was horrible. It was just horrible. And I was just like, my body can't go through this no more.
But describe how horrible. What do you mean? Like you lost your taste? You lost
I lost my hair. Your hair is your crown. I lost my hair. You lose your taste. You lose, I couldn't even drink water. I love water. Water tasted like lead.
Wow.
And it tasted so horrible that I couldn't even drink it at all. But you have to drink water. You tired. You're nauseated. Your body's sore.
Poison.
It's poison.
My cousin had cancer. She couldn't walk taking a bath. She used to always say, "Michelle, taking a bath is my job for the day." Like that is, after she took a bath, she had to go lay down for the rest of the day. She just would it was horrible.
It is horrible. It's like horrible. And so I worked and I did chemo. So it was double horrible. And then I didn't want nobody to come to our house. So I had a 3-year-old and we was in COVID. So he was home with me. So it was horrible.
Wow.
And so after I decided that I wasn't doing that last round of chemo, I did a double mastectomy in hopes that it was done. Like they said, you don't want it to come back anymore. Because usually from what I heard is that people will do a single mastectomy and then it'll come back 10, 15 years later in the next person. I was like, I'm not going through this ever again. So
that's really a statistic?
Yes.
That's bananas.
That is. Say that again.
So they'll do a single mastectomy in probably like 10 or plus years. It'll come back in the opposite breast. And I didn't want to take that chance. Most people that I've talked to absolutely had that. So I was like, I'm not taking that chance. So we just going to cut both of these off. So I did a double mastectomy. And then I did 16 rounds of radiation. When I did the double mastectomy, they found cancer still in my lymph nodes. So after during the radiation, I also did chemo again. And then after I was done with that, I did a deep flap. My body kept rejecting the implants that they put in, and I took that as a sign because implants take a lot of work. So I did a a surgery they call a deep flap, where they take the fat out your stomach and put it in your boobs. So I was like, okay, and you get a flat stomach like a tummy tuck. I'm gonna do
Win somewhere. I got to come back with beautiful hair
I gotta win somewhere.
And a flat tummy.
and a flat tummy.
I gotta win somewhere. So I did that, and then after that, they do it like in phases. Because if your body is not perfect, so one perk is if your body's not perfect, they'll keep going back. But I was like, no, we fine. We gonna take this good old tummy tuck. We gonna keep it pushing. So that's how it went.
You just a soldier.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, man, that's dope.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
What a journey. And here you are. You about to start a movement.
Yes, we need to.
Have you got
Yes,
started?
I have not. I'm like doing like research and looking at different things. I'm reaching out to different podcasts. Like, hey, let me come tell y'all about it. Let me come.
She's
talk
gotten
to-
started.
Let me come tell you. Okay, I got
Today.
started.
Oh, the podcast.
I got started.
Yeah.
I got started.
She got started. Yeah. She's got started. Yeah.
Happening.
Yeah,
I ain't
it's
got my shirt on.
happening.
It's happening.
Yeah, it's happening. It's happening.
So yes, I want to spread awareness to all Black women. Go get checked. Check yourself. You don't have to be like a full. Like I know they give you that little pamphlet. You don't gotta be that. Just just feel on yourself. Feel on yourself.
Oh, that's the thing right there.
Feeling myself.
You need to make that a thing. I like that. Feel on yourself.
Feel on
Feel
yourself.
on
Like
yourself.
yeah, like that's a thing.
That's a whole t-shirt, ain't it?
It's a t-shirt.
It is a t-shirt.
A whole
It's really, I really
Feel on
like
With some
that for
boobs
you.
on there. Yeah. Feel on yourself.
feel on
I
yourself.
like
Yeah.
that for you.
Yeah.
I mean, I,
do.
was a young
I do.
girl in my grandma's shower, looking like, what is that? Okay, they said do. I'm
Now,
looking.
was this your grandma or great grandma?
It's great grandma. I call her grandma because my
So
mom
was your
adopted
great
me.
grandma young?
She was popping. Listen, it was 7,000 kids.
Because you know, back then, you didn't really hear about cancer. I mean, because when I think great grandma, she got to be real old.
My grandma. So because my great aunt adopted me, that her mom.
Okay.
That's my great grandma.
Okay.
So I really know her as my grandma.
Okay.
My grandma was popping. She was orderly. Her house was clean. She owned it. Like, she was a boss. I don't know about these other people grandmas, but this grandma that I had,
My great grandma
was
was like that
amazing.
too.
so
Yeah.
I don't know. And they don't talk about things. So
They
like,
don't.
Okay.
you know, so it's like, you know, she fussed a lot. Like, I remember burning my hand in the kitchen. And she put some butter on it. It was like
Butter.
That's the solution.
Like that's gonna help.
Yeah. So for a long time I put butter, then I realized it made it actually hurt worse.
Yeah.
And then I realized aloe vera was a thing. But like that's health was as good as it. I like her health conversations was put some butter on it. So I don't know why that was in the shower. I have to ask.
Growing up, you didn't hear about.
And we still don't hear
Cancer.
about it. People still don't talk about
See, my
it.
grandmother, she took care of sick people. There was always somebody sick at her house, and so she was kind of a nurse. So it makes sense that even I don't mind caregiving, because it's like my mom caregave, my mom, my aunts, they all did it. So I think, you know, being close to a bunch of sick people will make you more conscious than the average household.
Recently, we found out that my grandfather, there's some property that we want, and it's in my great-grandmother's estate, right? So we had to go do some searching for her birth certificate, death certificate, to find out where she was buried or what have you. Recently found out that when she passed, she was 48, and she died of breast cancer.
Wow.
Which forced my grandfather to be raised by another set of family members. But you're absolutely right. She did die of breast cancer. They did have that on her death certificate.
Oh, wow.
Breast cancer at 48. I'm 48.
Wow.
Wow.
Now
So
my
it's
my grandmother just turned 92 last week.
Wow.
My grandmother just turned 92. She was diagnosed with breast cancer in her 80s.
That's crazy to me.
that is.
She was
So
in
then
her
what was
80s.
that process?
She's still kicking. They, I think she had a lumpectomy, but then my dad's sister, two of his sisters, and my cousin has had breast cancer as well
Wow.
on my dad's side.
Wow. But I like that you pointed out that it wasn't in your family. It wasn't a thing.
It wasn't in my family. It's not a thing. No one ever had it. So they do a test on you to see, like, could you have had it? No.
Gene analysis.
Gene analysis,
No
yeah.
one. So it's kind of, they were like, oh, where did it come from? I don't know. Y'all
Well, we have so many things
Yeah.
in the world.
Yeah.
One thing my cousin taught me, and I watched her to, like, again, somebody she was like thick, fine, boisterous. She was a boss. Like, she was just obsessed with education and helping people. She was really an amazing woman. And it's almost like I always say she knew before, but she publicly said it, and then like in 6 months she was gone. You know, I do know, I will say this, I've been around a lot of sick people. Your environment matters. Because when you are a woman, ladies, when we're walking around stressed and not telling everything, not to everybody, but like get a therapist, talk to people about what you're going through. Because some things that I've watched the women in my life that are gone now, they just held on to a lot. And I do believe there's a direct correlation to your sicknesses. And it's science there. Even if you take God out of it, there's science behind what emotions release in your body and the correlations with sicknesses. So we have to be mindful that our environments and what we're hearing and seeing and things like that. But
It's my therapist. I talk it out.
Right.
this is why this show is
She's
important.
absolutely right. 'Cause I went to this wellness doctor, and I was going for, because I have thyroid and some other issues. And so she said that she was like, I cannot remember what it was. It was like a vitamin, I'm going to say a Z. It was something crazy I was like, where did this come from? Well, she said to me, were you traumatized as a child? Because whatever that affected showed trauma, that I had experienced trauma at a certain age. She went straight to it. And I was looking at her like, how do you know? But it's like at that time when you're taking it all in, I was like, it was crazy to me. And I never sat down and just really did the research of what this was. But
I'm the nerd that watches all the videos. There are videos. I love studying. So like that's what I do for fun. Like and I've just always done that. So there are videos that show you the direct correlation between emotions and then what's released in your body. And so depending on our body's environments, then certain things, it's a breeding ground. Because isn't it true? They say like so many things we already actually have the thing in our body. There's a cancer.
Yeah, that's a cancer
It's already in your body.
Yeah.
So, so you have to be aware. It's so important to be in tune and to realize what you're putting in your body. Because if someone says that it's not in my family and then I get it, I need to look at, like my cousin was having me do. This lady would mop with bleach. Like she was so OCD clean. She would stand at the top of the stairs. She had a bucket. And that bucket had so much bleach. I don't know, that wasn't normal. My mom, we didn't play that in my house, but at her house, she would pour that water bucket down the stairs and just go through. I mean, she was a bleach fanatic. She washed dishes with bleach. She mopped the house with bleach. So she was just saying, once she started going to the doctor was like, shut that down. Like there were so many things that were just daily life.
Carcinogens.
They were cancerous. So even if you watch that vegan movie on Netflix, they show you how much is in eggs and everyday things.
Chicken. That's why we eat chicken.
Farm raised.
But it's important to know. I try not to be like a crazy person where you're just anti everything.
Yeah.
But I do know I have to I don't eat pork. Because first of all, I have an addictive thing with pork. I will eat a pack of bacon. I love bacon. But then I just can't. But when you look at pork and cancer correlations, I'm so happy that I get.
I just see that.
Baby, I like me some bacon.
Yeah, don't say.
You don't understand.
Please don't take bacon away.
I'm telling you, I done gave up everything, but I ain't giving up.
You're not giving up the bacon.
The only reason I don't have it is because it makes me sick. Because I have an addiction. It's might as well be crack. I never had crack, but I imagine if you take bacon, I don't know.
Bacon and crack.
Bacon. You know what I'm saying?
Addiction is one word.
That's right.
So,
and it don't matter.
It don't matter what it is. So I just have to watch myself because there are certain things where I'm just like Hawaiian rolls. I'm telling you, I have something inside of me.
Look how little she is. She big.
But it's because I can't. What I'm saying, those things are also correlated with a lot of stuff. And I know when I lost all that, birth control almost killed me.
Yes.
And literally, I know that there's some foolishness.
The panic in her voice when she said that you have to take the birth control out was so alarming. I would never forget that. She was like, even if you need to come in right now.
Guess what?
And she had come in it was 4:45. Even if you need to come in right now, we take
it out.
What the?
Wow. That's the first thing
we'll hear about birth control and taking hormone replacements that will lead to
every commercial.
Oh yeah,
you may have the happiest life of your life. Now, if you get a headache and your eye fall out, just call your mom.
Yeah. Oh, that's in the commercial.
There you go. If you feel a lump, then just run to the. What? I don't have a happy life. The dog and the lady running to the commercial, and then the little small print.
This may cause cancer of the toe.
The first thing they said was take the birth control out. I had the implant, the IUD implant, whatever it's called, right?
Implant.
Guess what? They wouldn't take it out.
Huh?
They said we can't touch. They was like this. We can't touch it. I said, huh? You're saying that's the first thing I need to do because I'm dying here. And they were like, we can't touch it. And so I had to go. They said, you have to go back to who put it in. They ain't want no lawsuit. I went crazy. I knew what was happening.
Yeah.
But guess what? I couldn't walk. I couldn't talk. Like my lips, when I tried to talk, it was like, I said, oh God, I'm dying. Nobody's here with me. They don't even know what's happening. The first thing they said was take that birth control out. And we can't do it. Huh? Wow. So then I go home and I can barely walk. I can't stand no light, nothing. Guess what I did? I juiced my way back because they was like, well, we're going to give you all these things. They suggested a bunch of stuff and I knew they was guessing. So you do have to know your body and you got to be bold enough to know.
You got to tell them no because they'll give you, I'll go to the doctor and they'll be like, you in pain? Yes, they'll write 12 prescriptions.
Exactly.
I call my mom, I'll be like, am I supposed to be like, don't take that? And I'm like, why did they give me something? All they hear is that I had breast cancer. You in pain? Okay, here we go. I'll be like, oh, Lord.
Because it's management. I think doctors are a gift from God. I think that we also need to know that we are the gift from God. Like doctors and the education is not to be misconstrued with what God has placed in all of us, which is a knowing. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So, and our bodies are made very smart. So when we put it in an environment.
Well-oiled machine.
So you have to know it and listen to it.
You do.
I went juice
My
crazy.
nephew always told me that. He was like, okay, if something is hurting over here, it may not be your finger. It's something that he said, listen to your body. He said, you don't just have pain just to have pain. It comes from something. So it could be your finger is hurting, but it's really related to your heart. You know what I'm saying? So he's like, get that stuff checked. Stop waiting around for this and this and that. And then now it's done metastasizing into something else.
And let me say something else. Take your medicine.
That part.
You hear me?
Hello.
Take your medicine. You could believe that God will heal you, and He will.
That's your
but He also gives you medicine.
I think it's a
And
partnership.
glorify, praise God.
That's your healing for now.
I believe
That's
it's a
right.
partnership. You know, like I think you should research whatever. Because even when my mom was dying, like I had to basically be the go-between. Like I was like, okay, what is that? I was looking to see how things interact with each other because there was a point where they were just trying to manage it and they already wrote her off. So it was like, we just gonna give her a bunch of stuff. I don't want her to be a potato. Right. You know what I'm saying? So I had to really get detailed and we started realizing how to help things and what time of day and really documenting. I think most people, there are people, I know some of cousins and people, they just not taking medicine and they're not, it's because they're stubborn. Right. They're not actually paying attention to what the doctor, of course the doctor has education I don't have. You know, so I think
it's a juggle between the two because I tell people doctors are human too though. So you gotta know yourself. Right. Also, I don't know. I did none of that. I didn't research nothing.
I'm a nerd.
I didn't research nothing. It was God because I got it right the first time. I talked a couple of weeks ago. I told them it was nothing but God. I got it right the first time with every doctor. I had no bad experiences. I didn't research nothing, but I trusted my body, my gut, and I say a quick prayer, Lord, if this is what it's supposed to be, then it's gonna be, and I just go with that, and I got it right every time. Yeah. So it had to be Him.
Yeah, and I think that's important to follow the voice of God. Like Tish just said, like I believe medicine, doctors, all of it's like, why would it exist? It supports us, right? You know, so watching your spirit behind is really probably the bigger thing because. If you're being stubborn, not taking medicine, if you're being stubborn and just setting your ways and it's going to be what it's going to be or something weird like that, you know, like why?
And you got to trust the people like around you because it was a lot of people like, oh, you got to take B12. I'm not, no.
Oh, the YouTube. Information. I always say
Information overload.
I was going to say, sometimes we say knowledge is power. But here's the thing. You can have a lot of knowledge and it's not applied in the right areas and it's useless. I want the right knowledge at the right time to make me powerful.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
That's absolutely. Good. Absolutely.
So everyone listen. We have a lot of great takeaways from today. Know your body.
Yes, know your body.
Take your medication.
Fill yourself up.
Fill yourself up.
Fill yourself up, ladies.
Advocate for yourself.
Cancer has no age. Cancer has no age. Cancer has no age.
Take care of yourself, you know, honestly.
Yes.
Thank you so much for listening to our show today. Thank you, Sharika, for sharing.
Thank you so much.
Thank you guys for having me and letting me come on your guys' platform and share my testimony and to advocate for other Black women. Thank you.
And we can't wait to see what God
see this
got
platform.
Yes.
Cannot wait for you.
Cannot wait.
Yes.
Cannot wait.
You guys.
Cannot wait.
Thank you all so much for being with us today. We love you, love you, love you. Be
Thank
sweet.
you guys.